All right, here we go. So in the agenda, we're going to go over logistics for a few minutes. Then I'm going to walk you through the scope and sequence. We broke everything down for you guys, so you don't need much work, much preparation, or much planning. And then we're going to go through the resources available. Logistics. So it's going to be for 4 weeks. You start on June the 3rd, and the last day is Friday, June the 28th. And it's a short day. It's from 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. We have 12 schools. And if you are at a school and your name is not there, let me know. That way we'll have to update and make sure that you get all the materials in time. This one will be very short activity, and it's because we want you guys, or we want all the teachers to come with the mindset of how do our kids are coming, how our summer school kids are coming to the classroom. Obviously, these are not our usual typical kids or GT kids probably, or there might be some GT, but they come with special needs, right? That's why they are in the summer school. So I'm gonna add this link on the, oops, hold on the chat. Give me 1 second. And I know someone's driving. You can turn on the mic really quick and let us know. But if you can type, what are the characteristics that students who are challenged with math? So when you're in the math classroom, what do you notice when you guys are working with manipulatives, or it's time to do some work or complete an activity? What do you notice with those kids who are already struggling with math? Go ahead and type something on the chat. Or if you want, you can also turn on your mic. So I'm going to give you about a minute.
Something that I've seen when students are struggling in math is they might lack a strong foundation in number sense. So
Yes,
they may not be as fluent with their facts, but definitely that number sense needs to be strengthened.
definitely. Thank you so much, Valerie. That is so true. It's like in reading, like a kid struggles with reading because they're struggling with the phonics piece. They don't know how to manipulate the sounds in a word when they're reading. Same thing happens with math. Thank you. And also the behavior might be an issue too, right? Like some of them are gonna try to find an excuse. Can I go to the restroom again? Or they're gonna be playing around. Some of them might turn it even into very challenging behavior just because they feel truly challenged in math. And that's the mindset we want our teachers to come with. Like, these are kids that need support in every single area. Here, there is a short resource that we got that talks about some of the strategies that we can use. So I'm going to let you read it from here. I was going to send you a link and everything, but if you can read it from here, and for Valerie, I'm going to read a few, and if I can have one or two people sharing what you think about this. It says, what instructional strategies are effective in helping students with difficulties in mathematics? Research points to several strategies that have been consistently effective in teaching students who experience difficulties in math. The use of structured peer-assisted learning activities, that means they're working with a teammate, systematic and explicit instruction using visual representations, modifying instruction based on data from formative assessment of students, such as classroom discussions or quizzes, and last, providing opportunities for students to think aloud while they work. Out of these four strategies, what do you feel is one that has really worked in your classroom with those struggling students?
I think definitely having like visual representation, because I mean, I teach kindergarten, so those who struggle with their numbers or even counting, just having a visual of like, okay, this is the number five, and have like five objects with that picture so they can see that it matches.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. And that's something we've been pushing hard for. Make sure that we have anchor charts so kids can always refer back to that. Thank you so much, Leslie. Anyone else?
I
One
think
more.
providing the opportunities for students to think aloud while they work is important. When we do our math journals, we always like prove our answers and talk about why. Like, how did you know? And even the kids who aren't struggling, who can do it mentally, and I'm like, but how did you know? What did it look like? What were you thinking about? And making those connections and really seeing how everything gets put together.
That's amazing, Heather. Thank you so much. That is actually my favorite one. It's allowing the kid to process the information as they speak, because they have to think what they want to say, right? So they're processing all the learning. Now let me say it. And now that helps me solidify my understanding of math. So yes, that's a huge one. And if you guys can allow that to happen in the classroom, that'd be amazing, and share with everybody. Anyway, I get excited about that. So here is the scope and sequence. So that's kind of the structure. You got the hours, times, and days, and then just come with that mentality of these kids need extra support than any other kids, right? Scope and sequence. So when you open the document, it's going to look kind of like this. We have a block of 90 minutes, and I'm going to explain that in a second. Then it tells you the TEKs that we're addressing and what scope it comes from, STEM scopes. I'll show you that in a second again. What tabs. Here you're going to have teacher links to each activity. Then we are giving you additional resources or instructions that you may need, kind of like to have a quick idea before having even to go to the website of how you need to prep for the next day, or how the kids should be grouped and things like that. We are giving you a student booklet in English or Spanish, whichever you're teaching. We have both. In the booklet, the student booklet, so this one that you see over here is going to tell you, well, on day 2, the student is going to have one page. In day 3, he might have 4 pages or 5 pages, so you have an idea. And then what other materials you're going to need. Next week or the week after, we're going to be sending buckets with materials that we already purchased for you guys to use in the classroom. You will also need a lot of materials from the STEM lab. So on this side, it's going to tell you, like, these are about how many Unifix cubes you're going to need, or centimeter cubes. I think we have counters. We have a few materials that you're going to be using throughout the month. So make sure you check that and let your principal or administrator know, hey, if you don't have your Unifix cubes, hey, what are these? I'm going to need these, from day 1. That way you're ready and prepared. Again, you will have a teacher booklet. That's going to be, it depends on what grade level you are. Some of them are like 500, some of them are 100, and I explain later why. And then you have the student booklet. So you don't have to print absolutely anything if you follow the scope and sequence. Everything will be ready for you guys. You will have to prep a few things, but it's not much. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So here's what you're going to be working on. If you're kindergarten, we're going to focus on composing and decomposing numbers up to 10, representing numbers up to 20, and comparing numbers up to 10. So you're going to stay in between 10 and 20, right? If you're in grade 1, you're going to compose and decompose numbers up to 20, up to 120. I'm sorry, that was a typo. And addition up and subtraction within 20. And then if you're in 2nd grade, it's about representing numbers up to 1200, addition and subtraction strategies, problem solving strategies. And then the last week, you're going to have an introduction of multiplication and division. Now, if you feel your students are really struggling, let's say we're representing numbers up to 1200, and you feel like you need to spend more time on that, that's okay. That you're going to get the feel of the kids. Hey, what are the concepts they really need to have very strong before they move to 3rd grade or they move to the next grade level? So we're leaving that to you as the experts, but we are giving you the scope and sequence for you to follow and have something already planned and prepared. Any questions so far? Or what? Okay, awesome. So here is the instructional block. We're asking that you guys have 10 minutes of daily numeracy, where we're going to have that think aloud. We're going to have those conversations and having kids to participate. 50 minutes of a full lesson. Many of them are going to be explorers with STEM scopes, where the kids get to go through different rotations and activities. And then 30 minutes of games and stations that would allow you time to bring small groups into your table and have, one-on-one with those kids that are struggling the most. So I'm going to ask you to either write this down or take a snapshot or a picture. Everybody should have access to STEM scopes, but there is a small possibility that it might not work the first week. So if that's the case, you guys can use this username and password. You will need this website, that website right there, because I think even if you go through Rapid ID, it's not going to accept this. So make sure you take a picture of that. So go ahead and log in into STEMscopes. And I'm going to show you really quick in case you do go through Rapid ID. I'm going to walk you, anyone who has never used STEMscopes at all. Okay. I'm going to give you a quick demonstration of what each tab is. But once you get into STEMscopes, you find your curriculum first, which is math, and then you go to grade level. If you do grade level, then it's going to be a little bit messier, right? And we will give you straight links, and I'll show you this in a few minutes. But let's say you want to keep looking for even additional resources because you want to stay in one specific scope because you see your kids struggling. The engage give us activities to before we start any main activities. It's kind of like a warm up. You can use them as assessment to see how much they know or they don't know, kind of review, right? Each activity will have, sometimes they have handouts for the kids, and it gives you a list of materials, what you need to prepare, and what is kind of step by step of the lesson, what questions to ask, and so on, right? When you get to the explore, these ones we want you guys to study a little bit more. It will, again, it will have the same kind of order, but this one will have a video, and the video will tell you like, this is kind of what the stations might look like. You need to divide your group, your students in this many groups. Make sure that you talk about this first, and then you have a conversation. So again, it lists the materials, what you prepare ahead of time. Sometimes they are divided in parts 1 and 2, and you're going to notice in the scope and sequence, sometimes part 1 is one day and part 2 is the following day, because you might not have enough time for both. Then you're going to see the math chat, and it's kind of, again, let's process everything we did. Let's see how much you learned, and that way we can assess them. So I will highly recommend you guys use this, use the math chat. And like I mentioned, this is a part 2, questions to part 2, and then even extra support. On the right side, you see all these print files. It has a copy of the student journal. That's what the activities they're going to be completing. Maths, they're going to be working for the stations. They have exit ticket. Now, all of this here, guys, is already in the student booklet. So you don't have to print any of these. And it tells you what specific days you can use them, what to pair them with, and so on. So you guys don't have to do any of the work. Explain. Explain, you're going to have anchor charts, you're going to have vocabulary, you're going to have things to do in the journals, and so on. Even extra exit tickets if you need some. Some of these would be in the scope and sequence and the student booklets too. Elaborate our games and stations that they can use. For kinder and second grade, we already put these on the teacher booklet and the student booklets. All you have to do is a few days before summer learning starts, make sure that you get those and you cut them so kids can work with them, okay? You will have one game a day, because the reason we print them out for you is because that, like I mentioned before, that first week you might not have access to STEMscopes, and the kids will definitely not have access to STEMscopes. So we want you to do more hands-on. After that first week, the kids will have access, and now you're going to actually give them some games. They're called the interactive games down here, and the kids can play those, and you can assign whichever you want them to practice. So I'm going to stop here with STEMscopes. Any questions about STEMscopes so far? Alrighty, let's go back. Curriculums and how do you access the resources? So I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna show you, and then you guys can find it later really quick. So you go to Curriculum Central, and on the presentation, it actually shows you a little bit of a video if you forget. But you go to elementary as usually, and it's not to core curriculum, I'm sorry. So here's our core curriculum. You scroll down and you're going to see summer programs extended year, and you're going to go to elementary extended year. Once you click that, you're going to have reading on top and math is going to be second, right? So here's kindergarten through first. I added a list of materials that have the materials you're going to have in a bucket, right? The ones that we bought for you. But these are the ones you're going to need from the STEM lab. So notice you need 1,000 Unifix cubes, color tiles, 2 color counters, centimeter cubes. These are from the STEM lab. So make sure that your administrator give you those. The rest should be in a bucket for you. So you don't have to pay for anything. All right, let's look at the scope and sequence. Like I show you, this is what it looks like. All right. So like I mentioned before, you have your 10 minutes, right, of the blog. So we're going to start with counting. These ones you can show in a projector. All you have to do is click. It takes you to it. It tells you what kind of questions you can ask, right? And then when you click on slideshow, which is in English and Spanish, it tells you what the kids are going to be doing. So we're recommending you use 2 slides a day. And again, if you want to spend the 10 minutes in one, then you can do that. This one doesn't give you much room to really talk, but let's say about this one, right? What do you notice? How do you count them? How do you know to count by 10? What is a different way to represent it? And just having the kids participate and learn from each other. The second part, I'm trying to figure where we're at. Sorry, guys. All right. So then we're giving you 50 minutes for Explore. Sometimes you're going to have Skill Basics, which has the lesson, and then you're going to have the Explore piece. And then you're going to have the 30 minutes. So basically, it's all like that. If you notice on the left, you have day 4, day 5. Guys, everything is already planned. You don't have to spend time on planning, okay? So that's what it's going to look like. So I kind of want to give you 5 minutes to explore either the scope and sequence of your grade level or the booklet or the student booklet. Just go peruse whichever you feel like. And then I'll be here for questions. So it's 4:22. Let's do 4 minutes. Go ahead and explore. And yeah, if you have questions, I think kinder and second for the teacher booklets are probably about 500 pages because of those games. First grade has shorter games that we use throughout the year. So it's going to be a whole lot smaller.
I have a question about assigning the STEM scope activities to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Do they go through like their Rapid ID QR code?
Yes, it should be the same as a regular class, but that might not work that first week. But yes, you can assign, if you want to assign quizzes online instead of the paper. You do have the paper on the student booklet, but you want to do it on the program, you can do that as well. Is anybody here doing first grade by any chance? Yes? Okay, Valerie, you're going to notice the stations are not from STEM Scopes. They're the ones from the curriculum this year. But if you like the ones from STEM Scopes, then fortunately, you're going to have to print them out, but you're more than welcome to use them as well. Okay, they're really good too. Awesome. All right, guys. Any questions before I continue? All right. So hopefully you'll find them helpful. If not, please always give us feedback so we can make it better for teachers next time. All right, so why daily numeracy? Again, this is what they're going to be looking like. What might be the benefits of doing this 10 minutes activity? And we kind of talk about it at the beginning. Why is it beneficial to spend 10 minutes talking about math? I need one person. Someone hasn't shared yet. What is the benefit of just showing images like this and allowing the kids to talk about it? And I'm going to stop there.
It allows the kids to think
Mm-hmm.
and to have the opportunity to talk to other students and maybe some of the misconceptions that they might have about it. Sometimes it's better for them to get it from a peer,
Mm-hmm.
therefore they can kind of understand it, a little bit better, but it just allows them to talk through, think about, and explore it.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Misha. Find out misconceptions. Yes, and we can address them with the kids. Every single and I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted because now people are starting moving around behind me. But in every explore, every scope, I'm sorry, you will find these activities on STEM scopes. And another place to find them, let's say you don't like the ones that we added for you. Um, when you go back to the scopes, sorry, you go to this one here, daily numeracy, and there's different games, right? So I use counting for first grade, but you can do guess the number. And again, you just open up the slideshow and it tells you what to tell them. So it's a number between 0 and 10. And then you keep giving them clues until they find out it's 3, right? So they have a bunch of them that you can use in exchange if you want to. Anyway, let's get back on track. So that's your first 10 minutes. Again, we talk about the scopes. I will show you a video so you get a taste. It's about 2 minutes, and I'll probably make it a little bit faster than what it is. And you get a taste of what you're gonna be using to prep. Please, please, please make sure you do have some preparation the day before. If you have time to even prepare stuff in a bulk for the whole week, I would recommend that. But if not, make sure that the day before you leave everything ready because there'll be a lot of putting stuff in baggies or setting up cards and stuff like that. So here's the video. I'm gonna make it a little faster.
Counting and organizing collections up to 99. How many tens and ones? Students will count and organize collections up to 99 using bags of candy collected from the candy store. In addition to the student journal, students will need the following handouts. Students will also need the following materials. Preparation. For part 1, students will be rotating through stations. Each station will need a bag of centimeter cubes to represent candies. Label 6 bags A through F and fill with centimeter cubes. Bag A will need 66 cubes. Bag B will need 90 cubes. Bag C will need 52 cubes. Bag D will need 28 cubes. Bag E will need 71 cubes. And Bag F will need 35 cubes. For part 2, print out the candy bag answer key, but do not put one at each station until part 2 of the lesson. Print a 10 frames mat and place into a plastic sheet protector for use with a dry erase marker. Put one mat at each station along with a dry erase marker. Part 1. How did you count? Read the scenario found in the teacher facilitation points to the students. Divide students into 6 groups and assign each group a station to start at. Direct students' attention to the bag of centimeter cubes. Allow students a few moments to discover the manipulatives and experience how they work with their group. Instruct students to count the candies, represented by centimeter cubes, inside the bag at their station. Allow students to choose how they want to count at this time. Give each student a student journal and ask students to find the box with the same letter on the bag at the station. Students will write the number of candies and what they counted by. Once students have finished counting the candies at their station, they will put the counters back in the bag and rotate to the next station to repeat the counting and recording process. Continue this process until the students have counted the candies in all 6 candy bags. Part 2. Count by tens. Place a 10 frames mat, dry erase marker, and a candy bag answer key at each of the 6 stations. Instruct students to rotate through the same 6 stations, but this time they can utilize the 10 frames to help them count the candies more efficiently and record their work. After the explore, invite the class to a math chat to share their observations and learning. Refer to the math chat discussion points at the end of the procedure and facilitation section. When students are done, have them complete the exit ticket to formatively assess their understanding of the concept.
All right, guys. So again, that's like a 2-3 minute video that will give you an idea of what's going to be happening, and that way you can prepare ahead of time. And again, it tells you all the points you need to discuss. So it's pretty easy and straightforward. So that'll be your 50-minute lesson. And then at the end, like we talk about games and stations, and this is what they're going to look like. So these are the printed copies that we added on your booklets. They're going to be black and white though, not going to be colored. But cards like this, you're going to have to cut them ahead of time, especially that first week. Kindergarten is going to be working in groups of 2, so there'll probably be a lot of cutting. And I think first and second, they probably be working in groups of 3 and 4, sometimes in groups of 2 as well. And this is what the interactive games would look like. Any questions, guys, at this point? Nope. Okay. So this is actually the end of the presentation, and just a reminder that better than 1,000 days of diligent study is 1 day with a great teacher.
Do you mind showing me real quick how to actually go through and assign a STEM scope for kids?
Yes, the thing is, it looks different for me than it does for you.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't have a class, but I can show you where to find that information.
Okay, perfect.
So does anyone else need more time for the code, or can I move that?
I just had one more quick question.
Okay, yes.
The manuals, like the real big one that's 500, that's going to be printed out and given to us,
Yes.
right? Okay,
Yes.
I was not even going to try to read it online if somebody's
No.
going to give it to me on paper. Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. All right, so let me show you really quick on STEM scopes. So I have them here. So curriculum navigation, there's one place. When you go to the scopes, if you go to the help section, is here, and here it is. So you go to teacher tools, assigning content. And I know is this a video? Yeah, like it shows you a video of how to do
Once you
things.
have a class set up in STEM scopes and you have students added to that class, you can.
So it gives you a video, and I think, is there step by step? Yes, there's a step by step PDF as well. That shows you how to assign anything. It could be the quizzes. There's different activities you can assign in there, but it should also give you, is the same thing for the games.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So help teacher tools. Okay.
Yes, yeah, just help teacher tools. It's very easy to navigate.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Have a great afternoon.